Hey, what's going on everybody? It's Joseph from ScreenBite, and today I got a short little video for you guys. So, as you know, yesterday was Apple's September event, and they announced quite a few things, including the Apple Watch 3, as well as some 4K stuff for their Apple TV, and they did also make the announcement of the 8 and 8 Plus iPhone, which are basically the 7S and 7S Plus with the specs. But the thing I want to talk about in this video specifically is the brand new 10th anniversary iPhone X, or iPhone X. That's the main thing I want to focus on. So getting into it, I have to say I wouldn't say surprised because we knew it was coming with all the leaks and whatnot. But I have to say, for Apple, I'm actually pretty impressed. I've been using Androids forever, but if you look at the very first video on this channel, it's me unboxing an iPhone when I gave iPhone another shot. But I'm glad to see that Apple is actually innovating a little bit here for the first time in a while, and it's not just the same shell with different specs. That's fantastic. But getting into a little bit of the phone itself, with every iPhone iteration, there's going to be a bump in specs, so we'll get that out of the way now. It's using Apple's new 811 Bionic chip, which is supposed to give it 70% extra power over the chip that's in the iPhone 7 and 7 Plus. So that's pretty cool. That's quite a bump in performance, but of course we'll never see that until it comes out and people put it through its paces. So grain of salt with that. As well as you get the standard camera upgrade as well, which this one is actually pretty hefty in both the front and the rear. It is a 12 megapixel sensor on the rear. I'm not sure of the front, but I think it might also be 12 megapixels, but don't hold me to that. I don't have the spec sheet in front of me. But yeah, it has the same kind of camera layout that the 7 had, or the 7 Plus, with the 2-point zoom and then the standard focal distance. But the sensor has been upgraded. I believe it's actually even a little bit bigger, so that's kind of cool. And some of the shots that they showed at the event, once again, take it with a grain of salt because it was showing off at the event, but they seemed pretty great. There's a really cool feature that I'm interested in, which is portrait lighting, where you could actually choose the lighting that you want on your subject in like software before and after you take the photo. That's really interesting to me, and I would love to see what comes from that. That's cool. There's also some anim emoji stuff, which is kind of cool. It's basically like face wriggling, and like the emoji does what your face does. So that's kind of cool, fun little quirk. But of course, moving on to personally what I think is the coolest thing of this phone is that front. And that is that brand new 5.8-inch OLED edge-to-edge display. Now, I haven't seen anybody talk about this yet, so I wanted to be the one to share it. But in all the promotional materials that they've shown of it so far, it looks like it has a little bit of a bezel around everything. If I can find it, I'll include a video right here. But it has like a little bit of a bezel around it, which is kind of shocking to me. Of course, it could be just the promotional materials and it might actually be edge to edge, but for me personally, it doesn't look edge to edge, but it is still a really cool looking screen on a phone. It has that little notch in the top, which I feel like adds a little bit of futuristic flair to it. Not everybody's gonna like it. I personally think it's kind of cool. Of course, with that brand new edge-to-edge screen, unfortunately, we didn't get the fingerprint sensor under the glass like everybody thought it was going to be. I think Apple was trying to go for it, but maybe they just couldn't get the technology in time. So what they did was they actually did away with Touch ID entirely on the iPhone X and replaced it with what is called Face ID. Now that is something similar to what Samsung did with their Note series about a year or two back, where it basically was an iris scanner. And it would, well, that was an iris scanner, and it would basically unlock your phone with your face. This apparently actually uses a couple of interesting pieces of technology to scan a 3D image of your face, and it learns over time. That way, if you're wearing glasses and a beard, and stuff like wearing a beard, have a beard, it will still unlock the phone for you. It kind of fluked a little bit during the test demo, but I heard that was just because the phone hadn't been unlocked in a while, so it was a security measure. But we'll have to see and test how that stands out to the thumbprint. Me personally, I'm not a fan because I like the idea of just taking my phone out of my pocket, putting my thumb on the fingerprint scanner or my finger on the fingerprint scanner on my Pixel, and I'm in my phone. I don't want to have to do this and then be into my phone. It just feels a little awkward. Moving on to a couple of things about the phone itself. Well, actually, before I do that, because there's no home button, they had to rethink the way they go home, which I think is actually really cool, is a swipe up, which just feels honestly a little bit more natural and kind of reminds me of WebOS, and I was a huge fan of WebOS back in the day. Some of you older guys out there might remember that. But yeah, you can swipe up to go home or half swipe and hold for like a millisecond, and then like your multitasking windows will appear. So I feel like that's very intuitive, and I like that. I kind of wish they would have added it to all the phones, but the other phones have home buttons, so I guess it would be weird if they added it. But it's pretty cool. As for the phone itself, it is a glass sandwich like it was in the iPhone 4 and 4S days, or as we now know with the Galaxies. So it does actually include wireless charging, which is fantastic. I've always wanted that on a phone. I wish my Pixel had it because I just find it convenient to just plop my phone down. And they are using the key standard, which is great. It's no proprietary crap that you have to buy an extra piece of hardware to do. If you have any key chargers from like your Samsungs lying around or something, you can just pop it on and it's going to charge. So that's pretty cool. As well as with that battery, I think it's supposed to get 2 hours over what the iPhone 7 was getting, so that's pretty cool. But once again, battery test will tell if that's truly the case. Apple's is pretty good at predicting what their battery life is going to be, so I wouldn't say it'd be too far off of that, but once again, something that we'll have to see. The phone, I'm not sure if I mentioned this, but the phone is dust and water resistant, just like the last model, so you're not missing out on anything there. There is no headphone jack. I guess that's where we're going in the industry nowadays. So that kind of sucks a little bit, but we'll go over it. It does include Bluetooth 5.0, which was included, I believe, on the Galaxy S8. So it's supposed to be faster connectivity as well as just better sound quality in general. So that should hopefully help with not being able to plug in your headphones without an adapter. But yeah, as of right now, I think that's pretty much all I can think of that was announced of the phone itself. So my personal thoughts, price. So we knew it was coming. It's been predicted for a while now, but the price of this new phone is going to be $999 for basically $1,000 for the 64 gigabyte model. Now that is expensive for a phone. It's even more expensive than the Note 8, which honestly is just a glorified S8 Plus with a pen, and that was $850. So it's almost $200 more than the Note 8. Not honestly much features more. If anything, I think the Note 8 Plus might actually have more features. I don't know if it's justified for that price tag, so that's going to lead me into my thoughts. I personally like it. I'm excited that Apple's innovating. They haven't done it in a while. I don't care what people say, but they're finally starting to innovate just a little bit once again. I'm happy with the design. It looks gorgeous. It looks very futuristic, and if I was heavily invested in the Apple ecosystem, I would love to pull that from my pocket because it looks great. I love that they're doing some things that they haven't done before, like the OLED display for those blacks and those nice colors. I love the fact that they're kind of just changing up the form a little bit here. I was afraid that it was just going to be some run-of-the-mill iteration on an iPhone that we've had forever now. But is it worth the cost? I'm going to honestly say, as of right now, from what I've seen, no. I feel like this should be the phone that's replacing the iPhone 7. There shouldn't be no 8 or 8 Plus. This should be the iPhone 10, and that's it. Replace the other two phones. And it should cost the same price as those other two phones. Of course, with phone plans nowadays, you can make payments on it, but that's going to be a hefty payment for a $1,000 phone. But yeah, I like it. Just probably not going to buy it because it's pretty darn expensive. But let me know your guys' thoughts. Comment section down below. I would love to hear what you guys thought of the event itself. Talk about the other products. What do you think of that price? Is it worth the price? What do you think of the phone in general? I would love to have a conversation with you guys, so feel free to ask. As well as, I don't mention this very often in my videos, but if you guys have any questions for me, or if you want to ask anything at all, of course you can ask in the comment section below, but you can also hit me up on Twitter at ScreenBite, same as the channel. Just hit me up if you have any questions or you have any ideas for a video that you guys would like to see. But yeah, that's going to go ahead and do it for this video, guys. So thank you once again for watching. As always, if you liked it, make sure to show it by hitting the like button down below. It really helps me out and shows me that you guys like the content. Also, if you are new to the channel and you do like the content, feel free to subscribe. But until next time, I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.